Hi, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. I'm Instructor Dwayne Jenkins. In today's video lesson, I'm going to show you a few techniques that can help you out with playing a little bit like Stevie Ray Vaughn, his rhythm and his lead playing. So let's take a look.
Audio Jungle.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to start off is Stevie Ray Vaughn's rhythm playing. The main thing that he does that's really cool, sounds cool, and kind of hard to get is that blues shuffle that he does. You know? He does that in pride and joy, you know? Okay, so a lot of that's with this hand right here, okay? It's that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And if you just kind of count that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you'll kind of get it. But it's not easy, okay? It's not just like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You gotta have that 1 and 2, 1 going down and coming up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's a blues shuffle, very cool, very prone to how he plays. So get that down, okay? And it's with your picking hand, okay? So work on that. These aren't techniques that are just gonna come overnight. You gotta work on them, okay? Gotta work on these techniques. So that blues shuffle, that's a lot of blues players play. That's one of the things that's Stevie Ray Vaughn's kind of thing that he does, okay? You see him do a lot of this stuff, a lot of this stuff with his picking hand. So develop your picking hand. Very important if you want to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, okay? Number 2, that percussive palm muting, okay? Once again, see I'm muting with this hand right here to get that percussive sound instead of just this. See, that don't sound all that great. But if you add that percussive palm muting to it, you get the palm muting and it gives it that percussive sound. Okay, so once again, work on the palm muting, work on your muting, I guess, not really palm muting with the fretboard hand, it's more just muting, fretboard muting, I guess, but it gives it that percussive sound, okay? And even right here too with your palm of your hand, with your picking hand, you can get some of that palm muting as well, okay? Okay, so work on palm muting and work just muting in general. Sorry, I keep saying palm muting. Palm muting with this hand, fretboard finger muting with this hand, okay? If this hand's playing loose, mute with this hand. If this hand's playing down here, this is the one you're gonna be, if you're holding a chord, then you can mute with this hand, but just focus on muting, okay, to get that percussive sound with both hands, okay? That's the second thing you want to work on. And the third thing for rhythm is his chord shapes, okay? So he uses more of these like 7 chord shapes, you know, B7, C7, D7, you know, some of the F chord shape here, like Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan play very similar in their style, so if you learn one, you can kind of understand the other one. They do have their differences, but they have a lot of similarities as well, okay? So, work on your 7 chords. The easiest one to start off with is your B7, which is right here. That one's probably the easiest one to learn. If you're not too sure how to form that, you could start with your D7 chord, which is like your D major, which you should know that one. And then you just invert it, meaning that you take this note and move it back here. So now you got like a backward D major. We'll just call it a backward D major. Then we take that backward D major, which is actually a D7, and we move that up to the 5th string. So now you have this finger, 2nd finger on the 5th string, index finger on the 1st string, 3rd fret, I'm sorry, the 1st fret, 3rd string. Sorry, gee, my help, I pay attention there. 1st string, 1st fret, 4th string, and then your ring finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. There you go. Sorry about that. Don't mean to confuse you. But you understand what I'm saying. You can kind of see where my fingers are at right there. And then the pinky goes on the 1st string, 2nd fret. And that's your B7, okay? You move it up, it becomes a C7. You move it up 2 more, it becomes a D7, all right? D7, E7, okay? So you utilize those chords, okay? They give you a certain type of sound, as opposed to like bar chords, you know? He didn't really use these kind of chords. I'm not saying he doesn't, I'm just saying that he uses a lot of these 7 type of chord shape. So use these, okay? That'll give you insight into how he's playing. When you see him playing, you say, what is he doing? He's doing that chord shape, okay? And then of course, if you're gonna use a bar chord, use your 7 shape with your bar chord. So your bar chord, like this is a G major bar chord right here. We take our pinky, we move it down here to the 2nd string, the 6th fret, and now you have a G7, okay? Move it down up, you have an A7. Move it up, B7. So this could be a root 6 B7. This is a B7 as well. This is a root 5 B7, root 6 B7, okay? So utilize those 7 chords. That's really, really important. You use those 3 techniques and that'll really help you to understand kind of where he's coming with rhythm. Of course, he's doing other stuff too, but that's going to give you a start of how to capture his rhythm playing, okay? Watch him on video and watch how he utilizes these chords, okay? And these techniques, all right? Okay, now for his lead guitar playing, very similar to a lot of the other blues players like Jimi Hendrix and Angus Young, Tony Iommi, all those other players, he uses the pentatonic scales. Watch him in Texas Flood. He's using the use of this G minor pentatonic scale right here. And he also uses the major pentatonic scale, which is right here next to it. So the major and the minor are right next to each other and utilize a lot by mixing the 2 together, okay? So the mixture and the blues scale, which is almost the same thing as a pentatonic, but you're adding the flat 5th, and you add it in 2 positions right here. That's right there. So you get more of a kind of a different tone. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, play the pentatonic scale. Play the pentatonic blues scale. Can you hear how that note right there just gives it a little bit of a darker, moodier sound? So you want to add that in there. And you can add it in 2 spots here, and it's octave. And if you don't know octaves, I highly recommend you learn those because that's very important. It helps you with chords and it helps you with knowing where your notes are, okay? So we're adding that in 2 spots to that scale. There we just played the blues scale. Okay. And then when you play the major scale, okay, we know it's added there because it was added here from this scale, from the minor, so we know it's added right there, okay. It's got a little chromatic run there. A chromatic run is when you're playing notes that are right next to each other. That's what chromatic means. So you got a little chromatic run right there. And then the octave of that would be right here. So we're going to play that second one right here at the end of the scale. So we could go. So we got another little chromatic run right here between these 2 notes. So now we've kind of extended the scale a little bit. See? And you want to kind of know where those are. It's very important. If you know where your notes are, you can, add those embellishments in there, okay? And what those blues notes do is they give it a different timbre to the scale, okay? And so you can also do chromatic. He also did chromatic, a lot of little chromatic runs too. Use some of these other notes that aren't traditionally in the scale. So if you're playing, say, G minor pentatonic right here at the 3rd fret, as you can see, you're just going from the 3rd to the 6th. But you can still use some of these notes too. He used those as well. Okay? He used these little chromatic runs, chromatic notes as well. You wouldn't necessarily want to land on them, but you could use them as, fill notes, as just lead run notes, okay? In there as well, alright? So that's the second thing that he did. So he used the pentatonic scale, the blues scale, chromatic runs, and then of course what we really need to do to make our scales sound like music is we got to use our personality techniques, what I call personality techniques, and these are hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, bends, trills, and vibrato. There's a lot of stuff you can do within those techniques there. Okay, you can do hammer-on pull-offs, and then you just kind of mix them together. Okay, they're like tools that you mix together. Hammer-on, bend, slides, repeated licks. See, I'm just doing that simple hammer-on pull-off thing, but I'm repeating it so it sounds kind of cool. See, I'm repeating that lick. Okay. And know your scales really well, because then you can just pull from them anywhere you want. You don't have to just start in a specific position. You can start wherever you want, you know. You know, use your bends, your vibrato. Vibrato is really, really important to master. That's just kind of like taking the string and bending it up and down a little bit like this, okay? And just try to get that vibrato. That's really, really important technique to get. That's kind of like your fingerprint on the instrument, okay? Slides, double stops. You also use double stops, which are 2-note chords. Little kind of like mini chords. He used a lot of those kind of things, okay? So if you work with that, you're going to be able to get some of the lead playing down that he does, okay? And you can incorporate that into your playing. That's what you really want to do, is take some of these techniques and incorporate them into your playing. All right, so there we got it. A few techniques on how to play like a little bit closer to Stevie Ray Vaughn. Of course, we're not going to sound exactly like him because he had his own thing going on, you know. But what we can do is we can learn a few of his techniques to capture some of his thinking and how he approached the guitar. And that's what we want to do. We want to take some of those techniques and incorporate them into our own playing, okay? So if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you have any questions about anything, please leave the comment below. I'd really appreciate that. It really helps with the channel. Hit the bell for future notifications. And if you need any help with your guitar playing, be sure to contact me, because I teach guitar lessons offline and online. And I also have my books as well, okay? I have a lot of books that you can find on Amazon and eBay. I've written a lot of different books. Here's one of them that I've written. It's called how to play guitar chord, learn guitar chord theory. I show you all the triads and stuff, chord embellishments, all that good stuff in a very easy, simple step-by-step lesson format. All right, so check that out. Be sure to watch my other channels on YouTube and keep practicing. I'll see you at our next lesson.